Because my sister was killed at that riverbank.
It happened during a family dinner. When I asked my son why he avoided the path near the riverbank every day on his way to school, his response was shocking. "What?" His words sent a chill down my spine because my son had a mysterious power. When I glanced at my husband beside me, he was even paler than I was, trembling uncontrollably.
"What are you talking about? Stop telling creepy stories."
He raised his voice and then left the room. However, he didn't know that the truth would soon be revealed, and he would experience real fear. I got married when I was 28. My husband, Leonardo, fell in love with me and actively pursued me from the moment we met. At his request, we left my familiar San Francisco and started our newlywed life in a nature-rich countryside. My job allows me to work anywhere as long as I have a computer, so I am not bound by time or place. Gardening and strolling along the riverbank nearby became my hobbies. At 30, I gave birth to our daughter, Iris, and 5 years later, we were blessed with our son, Weston. We lived peaceful and happy days. In this life, the only thing that concerned me was Leonardo's behavior towards me.
"Where did you go today?"
One evening during dinner, as I was setting the table, Leonardo came into the living room after work and approached me. "Where did I go?" "Just to the usual supermarket for some shopping." When I said that, Leonardo placed his bag on the sofa, loosened his tie, and for some reason, looked me up and down.
"You went to the cafe near the city hall, didn't you? Why are you hiding it?"
"I didn't mean to hide anything. I ran into a friend at the supermarket entrance, and since we had some time, she invited me for a coffee." According to Leonardo, one of his colleagues who went out for lunch happened to see me and told him about it. Leonardo, who works at the city hall, has always been meticulous and wanted to keep track of my actions since we were dating.
"Don't lie to me."
"Of course not." This was our usual interaction, and I fully understood that Leonardo asked these questions out of deep love and concern for me. However, to our 7-year-old daughter Iris, it seemed like Leonardo was accusing me. Whether I was cooking, cleaning, or relaxing on the sofa, she would cling to me and never leave my side. I found the way Leonardo and Iris vied for my attention both a bit troubling and endearing. But then, an incident occurred that shook our daily life. It was around the time when the end of summer could be felt. On a slightly windy day after a hurricane had passed, Leonardo suggested we go to the nearby riverbank. "Hey, isn't it dangerous with the river still swollen? We don't have to go today." I opposed the idea, but Leonardo insisted.
"Today is the only day I can take off."
He didn't seem to want to change his plans.
"And I want to get closer to Iris."
Hearing that, I didn't want to miss the opportunity. I thought it was a chance to bridge the gap between Iris, who was always clinging to me, and Leonardo. I couldn't disregard Leonardo's effort to cherish family time amidst his busy work schedule. In the end, the 4 of us decided to go out together. After arriving at the riverbank, we unloaded the gear from the car. I started preparing for the barbecue with Weston, who was 2 years old, on my back. Iris helped carry the tools and food. Leonardo set up a small tent and placed our belongings inside.
We'll go swimming in the river until the food is ready.
He took Iris by the hand and walked towards the riverbank. However, a few minutes later,
Iris is drowning.
"What?" At Leonardo's scream, I dropped the skewers and tongs I was holding and ran towards the river. I reached out, and for a moment, I saw Iris's distressed face before she was quickly swallowed by the deep and complex currents of the river. I immediately ran back to the tent to call for help, searching for my phone in my bag, but I couldn't find it.
"I was sure I put it here. So why?"
Meanwhile, Leonardo was running along the river, chasing after Iris. I followed him, shouting Iris's name until my voice was hoarse. At that moment, I saw someone walking along the riverbank. I explained the situation and borrowed their phone to call for help. A search for Iris began immediately, but by the evening, when she was found downstream, Iris had already passed away. In just a moment, Iris's life ended. Unable to accept reality, I was in a daze, overwhelmed by the sudden loss of Iris. Leonardo, taking my place, calmly made the arrangements for Iris's funeral. I was grateful for his composure and found it reassuring, but I was in such deep despair that I couldn't even express my gratitude. I couldn't eat, and time just passed by. However, after a few days, I noticed something. Strangely, whenever I cried thinking about Iris, Weston would start crying too. And when I looked at photos of Iris with fond memories, he would be in a good mood by my side. It feels like he understands my feelings. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence, but after experiencing it several times, my sorrow began to ease just a little. I can't keep being sad forever. I have to raise Weston well, for Iris's sake too. I vowed to cherish the future I would walk with Weston. 5 years passed, and Weston was now 7 years old. One day, while the three of us were having dinner, I remembered that Weston's teacher had called earlier that day. "Weston, the school called and said you haven't been using the path near the riverbank to go to and from school. They recommend using that path, and the other roads have a lot of cars and are dangerous, so I want you to use that path." I tried to convey this as calmly as possible, without getting angry.
Why don't you follow what you're told? Stop doing things that make your mother worry.
You don't have to say it like that. Maybe there's a reason? I admonished Leonardo, who was glaring at Weston, and looked into Weston's face. He was a quiet and gentle boy who wouldn't break rules without a reason. Then, Weston put down the fork he was holding and looked straight at me.
I don't want to pass by that riverbank because Iris was killed there.
What? I was so shocked by Weston's words that I could barely respond. But Leonardo, who was next to me, turned even paler. What's wrong? You look pale.
No, it's just that Weston suddenly said something creepy.
Leonardo stammered as he answered.
Don't say things that make me lose my appetite.
He scolded Weston and went to his room, even though we were still in the middle of dinner. I felt suspicious of Leonardo's behavior. This was because I had experienced strange things before, as if Weston could foresee danger or the future. One day, while driving on our usual route,
Take that way today.
Weston insisted. I changed the route, puzzled, and found that the road we were supposed to take had a head-on collision between a truck and a car. If I hadn't listened to Weston, my car would have been caught in the accident. Another day, while walking, we passed by an elderly woman in the neighborhood, and suddenly Weston shouted,
Ambulance.
I looked around but saw no ambulance. Right after that, the elderly woman collapsed, and because I called immediately, her life was saved. Not only that, but at home, he would say things like, someone is crying, someone is looking for something, or I hear someone calling. Weston didn't say such things in front of Leonardo because he knew he would be scolded for saying unscientific things. The day after I heard the reason why Weston avoided the path near the riverbank on his way to school. I was watching Weston play with a shovel in the garden while working in the living room. He was digging around the garden, and after a while,
Mom, look at this.
He brought me a cookie tin that seemed to have been buried in the soil. Where did you find this? I recognized the tin. It had a flower illustration on it, and
It's cute. I'll make this my treasure box.
Iris had said that and cherished it.
It was buried over there.
Weston pointed to the vegetable garden where I plant herbs. It's a place only I touch because Leonardo dislikes the smell and never goes near it. I took a deep breath to calm my racing heart and gently opened the tin. Inside, along with toy accessories, shiny stones, and letters from friends, was a letter written by Iris.
This is...
I was shocked by its contents and remembered what Weston had said the day before. Suddenly, I had an idea and started searching for some data on my computer. When I found what I was looking for and confirmed its contents, I was trembling with anger. That night, I asked Leonardo to make time for a talk.
What is it? Why so formal?
I have questions about your actions on the day Iris died. I took a deep breath and sat facing Leonardo. Do you remember what Weston said yesterday? That Iris was killed. Your face suddenly changed color then. Why? At that moment, Leonardo quickly looked away.
I told you, didn't I? Weston says creepy things. It just freaked me out.
Is that really true? Or were you so flustered because what he said was true?
What?
Suddenly, Leonardo became irritable, slammed the table, and stood up from his chair. But I gave him a cold stare. Can you still say that after seeing this? Don't lie to me. I placed the letter from Iris, which was in the tin she cherished, in front of Leonardo. It contained numerous cruel words Leonardo had said to her, such as your mother hates you and you're a nuisance. Just disappear. The content was unbearable to read. I wondered how Iris must have felt. Her newly learned English was clumsy, but the content was so inappropriate that it brought me to tears many times. However, Leonardo glanced at Iris's letter and laughed mockingly.
This is just Iris's delusion. Do you have any proof that this is true?
I didn't answer that and silently opened my laptop.
What is this?
What was displayed was footage from a dashcam. It captured Iris's last moments alive 5 years ago. We arrived at the riverbank, unloading camping gear and tents. The type of camera that could also film inside the car showed us happily preparing. Iris also went outside with her toys and drinks. After a while, only Leonardo returned to the car. He was holding my cell phone and was seen pushing it into the gap in the seat. He was also seen doing something with Iris's life jacket. When Iris was swept away, I couldn't find my cell phone to call for help because Leonardo had secretly hidden it. Moreover, he had likely tampered with the life jacket so it would come off easily. It was a planned action to drown Iris and delay the call for help.
Why is footage from 5 years ago still here? I thought I deleted it.
Leonardo, who hadn't expected to be confronted with such evidence, turned red with anger and shouted.
I wanted to keep Iris's last moments, so I saved it on my computer. It was too painful to watch for years. But after Weston's words, I thought maybe.
I kept staring at Leonardo. But the man with heavy breathing and bloodshot eyes was no longer the Leonardo I knew.
She sometimes looked at people as if she could see right through them, and it was creepy. Besides, I never really wanted kids. Just having you was enough for me.
Leonardo continued, saying that moving to the countryside was to cut off my relationships in San Francisco. His selfish reasoning made me tremble with anger.
I am not your possession. I am a person with my own will. So was Iris. Taking a life for your selfish reasons is unforgivable.
Thinking of Iris's regret, tears flowed uncontrollably.
I can't live with you anymore. I'm divorcing you.
That's the one thing I can't allow. I will never let you go.
At that moment, Weston, who I had told to stay in another room, opened the living room door. He must have heard our shouting.
Weston, get out. Go back to your room.
Leonardo shouted angrily, but Weston, unafraid, stared at him intently.
Dad, let Mom go.
The moment Weston's quiet voice echoed in the living room, I was startled. It sounded like Iris's voice. Leonardo was also shocked, his eyes wide open.
I knew you hated me. But did you hate me enough to kill me?
Leonardo turned pale and began to tremble.
Stop it!
You drowned me in the river and thought you could stay with Mom forever?
Stop it! Please!
Leonardo cried out, clutching his head and collapsing to the floor, muttering repeatedly.
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
I hugged Weston tightly. Surely, Iris was also within him.
I love both Iris and Weston. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you from your father.
I understand how you feel, Mom. Don't worry. But I wish we could have spent more time together.
Weston said with a slight smile, his face overlapping with Iris's image. Encouraged by that smile, I turned to Leonardo.
Please atone for your sins properly. And apologize to Iris.
I called the police on the spot, and Leonardo, with his head hung low, was taken away. After that, Leonardo was arrested and sentenced to a long prison term for driving our child to death. I divorced him and demanded $150,000 in alimony and child support, which was paid in full from the division of property, ending my relationship with Leonardo. 5 months have passed since then. I am spending quiet days with Weston. He no longer avoids the path near the riverbank and has stopped making strange remarks. I had avoided the river since Iris disappeared, but recently, Weston and I often go for walks there again. When we reach the riverbank, it has become a habit to float flowers we picked along the way down the river.
Do you think these flowers reach Iris?
Of course. I'm sure she's happy.
As I gaze at the sparkling water surface, Iris's smile comes to mind. Like this gently flowing river, we too will walk towards a happy future.
How did you like this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.